Practical SQL Server 2012 Administration and Programming. Select statement. Top function. Splitting a comma delimited string with XML operation. Let's start with the top function. We can say select top 5 or 10, or we can use top with a local variable. We set the local variable to 10 and select, and we get 10 rows back. In this instance, we did not indicate the order we want the top 10 rows back, so we got 10 rows randomly. If they don't look random, it does not matter, because we want an order by. Next time they may look different. In this instance, we use an expression, an algebraic expression, 2 times 5, which is 10 also. But we use an order by to get it back in an order. We are using a subselect to get the number defined for top to return. So let's execute it. And 16 rows, that means there are 16 rows in the department table. We can use top in conjunction with update. Let's change the database context to copy of AdventureWorks before we update it. Execute. And we updated 290 rows. If we execute the same statement with removing with ties, we get 29 rows. And then equivalent formulation. Execute again 29 rows, which is a top 10% of 290 employees of AdventureWorks cycles. Top salaried in each department. So this is a huge query. First of all, it uses 2 CTEs, common table expressions. This is the first CTE up to here, and followed by the second CTE. Then comes the main query, which has 4 inner joins and a complicated where clause. So let's execute it. Change database context back to AdventureWorks. Execute. And here it is. Top salaried employee in sales is Welker. In information services, Trenery, and so on. what if we want to get top 3 employees in each department? We have the same query modified. Let's scroll down. And we see the top 3 over here. Execute. And here are the results. We see more than 3 because they tie. Top 10 products by % profit margin. Execute. And this is the list. Actually, if we look at it, these are low-cost items, so the % profit margin is high, but the actual profit is not high, because some of the bikes and frames are sold for hundreds or thousands of dollars. Now we do with ties. Execute, and now we get 34 rows. Let's proceed to delimited string, building and splitting. This is how we used to build delimited strings in the past without XML. So we use a string variable which is defined as varchar max, and we are appending to it, concatenating. So this is like a loop by itself, and this is the result. It's a long list. It's a comma delimited string. This is how do we do it with XML. Years of operation. Again, doing it with XML path. Purchasing staff list. And these are purchase orders by vendor ID. Sales territory assignment generated with XML path. We have an opportunity to introduce 2 new functions. So we do Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V. we can say format, and instead of 1 we can say currency, and the culture is English US, and the red line is gone. And we can also concatenate using concat. So that would be concat and this is the end of it, and replace plus with a comma. Save. Let's execute it. And we get the same result set. It was pretty simple to make the replacement. And here is a user-defined function which uses XML to split a delimited string. It is a table-valued function. That means it's going to return a table in form of table variable, the return table variable is defined as id integer identity11, so this will be used for auto numbering the result set, and string literal up to 128 characters long. We can define the delimiter character. Usually it's a comma, but it can be something else as well. And the input string defined as varchar max. The size of varchar max is over 2 billion characters, so it's plenty large. Let's compile the function. Execute, so it compiled correctly. This is how we can call it. So this is the delimited string, comma delimited string, and this is the separator. Because this is a table valued function, we can just place it anywhere we would use a table. Execute, and here is the result set, 11 rows. And this is the auto numbering which generated automatically with the identity11 function. Recapping, the top function can be used to return part of the result set. We can return it randomly or define it sorting with order by. XML operators can be used to split or assemble delimited strings. Typically the delimited string is comma delimited string. The XML operations are very fast and more flexible when using other t-sql operations prior to the introduction of XML path. This is the end of the unit.